Okay, here we are back in my studio, La Tromba Music. My guest today is Mr. Benno Egerhard. He's from Grafenwöhr on the border to the Czechoslovakia. The Czech Republic is called, right?
Yeah, it's Czechia.
Czech Republic. And Benno and I have been friends since 1985, and we're talking a little bit about the movement of the air when you're playing certain exercises, either slurred or tongued. And we were just talking about number 14. Now, I don't know, Benno, you've never played these 14 grand studies from our band, but they are really the basis, I think, a lot of how to prepare for pieces like The Flight of the Bumblebee, Le Vol du Bourdon from Rimsky-Korsakov. And everyone knows The Flight of the Bumblebee. But the problem we were just discussing is the consistency of the movement, not only the valve, but the coordination of sometimes you have just a slur in the middle of the phrase. Here's easier to control because you move the valves. But where you don't move the valves, between the E flat and the A flat, that's where the impulse has to come from the stomach. You want to play it a little bit? How you approach it? Pretty good.
Zeit, dass es mal wieder gleichmäßig läuft. Ja.
When it goes up higher, though, there's a section there where you can. Then it doesn't really matter what valve you use at a certain point. But from here, again, it's the A flat to the D flat. On a flugelhorn, that's very high because the flugelhorn has not enough compression. Usually you hear these things actually on the trumpet with a mute. Now I have a mute for this flugelhorn. Can you give me that white flute? And that's it, right? That's a white flute mute for a flugelhorn. And have you ever seen a flugelhorn mute before?
Diesen nicht.
Huh?
Diesen nicht, nein.
Diesen nicht. It says right on here, check this out. Mute as played by Maynard Ferguson.
Okay.
So Maynard Ferguson flute. Mute for a flugelhorn. And it actually makes it a lot easier to play in the high register, which is kind of, I mean, it's clearer. You heard that I didn't have to work so hard.
Ja, aber normalerweise ist es eigentlich so, dass du, wenn du Dämpfer drin hast, die Kontrolle nicht mehr so ist wie ohne Dämpfer.
Yeah, but the problem is that the bore size of the flugelhorn is much bigger, and actually this is too big for this flugelhorn. It might be better for. I put this flugelhorn down and take this flugelhorn with a bigger bell. That's what I really have this. It fits this much better, see? Mm. And I think Maynard was playing a Courtois flugelhorn a lot of the time. Or a Holton. Holton because his MF horns were Holton. But I don't know if I got enough oil on this valve to make the valve move properly. But again, also originally the idea with the trumpet, when somebody like Rafael Mendez was playing this, or Timothy Dockschütze back in the 1960s and 1950s as a sort of a novelty piece, they almost always played it with, I have to either clean this valve or lap it in a little bit because it fits better with this instrument. But first of all, the valve has to move more concentrically. But again, we're really not too interested in that as much as certain impulses that have to take place that are directly from the stomach muscles. And that's what we were talking about. Oh, that's what I would like to do by this number 14 from the Arban book. Now I'm going from E to G and from C to E, and they're open tones. You would do that maybe using the E1 and 2. You want to just go really slowly and do that?
Nicht mit dem Flügelhorn.
Not with the flugelhorn?
Nein.
Only with the trumpet?
Ja. Weil ich bin das dann gewohnt, auch entsprechend so im Rücken und dann klingt es nicht.
Oh, I see, of course. Okay. Well, you have your trumpet with you. Do you want to play it on your
Ach,
trumpet?
jetzt, nee, jetzt muss ich
Better
wieder,
by the flugelhorn.
ja, bleiben wir mal dabei.
I just used 1 and 2 like you would do. Did you see that?
Das Sie?
I used the E, 1
Ach so,
and 2.
ja, ja, ja.
You know, I wasn't really that much aware consciously of how important the air movement is to concentrate on it until I was playing this piece and got to the middle part. And the middle part is all these diminished seventh chords. Because if I use the air, it's a lot easier and the notes will come.
Ja.
A lot of people try to play it only from the embouchure, and because the air's not there, then it's you can hear all. It's not too loud for the microphone. Mic? No? Okay, good. That's what I find also then when I'm playing. I mean, you teach with your students, you work with Clark, right?
Clark und Colin,
And calling, okay?
mostly Clark.
Mostly Clark, okay? I think the Clark book it's brown. Should be right there.
Meins ist rot.
Hey, you're on the floor. Brown? No. Oh, I've got this flugelhorn on top of it. That's it. Mike, can you put this flugelhorn back on the stand? That's where you pack it. Thank you. Here's the book.
Du hast es?
Let's take the Arban away. And here we are. So what, from you were talking about the technical studies, right? But you know his characteristic studies are also. For example, this also is 8th etude. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is it's not because a lot of people don't do this, it's because they just don't know or think about exactly what they're doing. It's all done with the air and all moved, the air is all moved from the stomach muscles. So, Mike, you as the listener behind the camera, or you people that are listening at home, the idea is to come back to this whole idea of contour when you're playing crescendo going up, diminuendo going down, right? And it doesn't matter if you're slurring or tonguing or whatever. What do you use this when you're working with your students?
No.
What would you like to
Weiter
play?
vorne.
Wider 4, okay.
Mal sehen.
Maybe etude number 3? Etude number 4.
Hier oder 6. Ah, die schaut gut aus. 5.
Go ahead. I mean, this is the way, this is about, Clark says you should be able to play this in one breath. Now, I was able to play this in one breath maybe when I was 18 and had 6 liters of air in my lungs, but I don't know if I can do it now. I'm out of air already. I don't know. With the flugelhorn, maybe he was talking about the cornet and playing very softly. You know,
Ich habe es auch noch nie mit Flügelhorn gespielt.
huh? You've never played with flugelhorn. You would try it. It's an experience in itself. But sooner or later, the air is gone, though, because the thing uses a lot of air. But very good, very good, yeah. So again, this is a question of how the air is flowing. But I wanted.
Wichtig, glaube ich, ist da dabei auch, dass man
Yeah.
gleichmäßiges Tempo hat.
Gleichmäßig-
Solange du Schwankungen hast, kommst du nicht weit.
Yeah, or a valve hangs a little bit or
Yeah.
something like that. Etude number 8 also. I played that before, but the next time we come back, we're going to do something from the characteristic studies from Mr. Herbert L. Clark and talk a little bit about how to approach those studies. So, thank you very much, and we're going to be doing one more YouTube for today with my guest, Mr. Benno Engelhardt from Grafenwöhr in Germany. And thank you from the man with the horns, Richard Carson Steuart, La Tromba Studio. Bye.